I used to never pay attention to physical media or to CDs or DVDs or anything like that. I remember that my family had this CD bag in the shape of a sheep. Actually, me and my sister, we used to call it vilinha, which is like a diminutive version of the word sheep in Portuguese. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember what DVDs and CDs we kept in there. Most of the time, it was just actually my parents and all of my great parents stuff that was just sitting there. It never came to me as a remembrance of the old world, of the old way of life. Of course, today in today's world, no one uses CDs and DVDs anymore, right? It's just a thing from the past, right? It doesn't bring us anything else different than what, for example, you can get at Spotify or YouTube. Again, these things would just spend space, and you just be clumsy collecting dust over there. And as a matter of fact, you wouldn't have anything to do with it. After you listen to it once or twice, you're like, okay, I don't need this anymore, or you kind of forget that you have that. And let me tell you something, whenever a new artist comes up with a new song, you have to run to get your copy of it, because if you lose it, sold out, I'm sorry, you don't have it anymore. So the internet comes with this idea of convenience and desire, right? It comes with a very low price, sometimes for free, like you have, for example, on YouTube. Depending on your situation, the price of having one of those, it can be actually pretty expensive. I know some people from other countries that would die to get one of those, whether it is a CD or a DVD or even a vinyl. And we're gonna get to vinyls just in a bit. And as internet progresses and more people start using these services like Netflix for movies and like Spotify for music or Apple Music and Apple TV, we start to realize that convenience and desire are things that drive the behavior. Again, my parents these days, they don't use or they don't buy CDs and DVDs as they used to in the past. Today simply has no meaning to them. So it was to a specific point in my life whenever I was just hanging out with a couple of friends, and one of them received from another friend a Pink Floyd CD as a birthday gift. And me, as just a third party looking at all of that, I was just confused. Me, with my 14 and 15-year-old mind, thought with myself, why don't you simply listen to Pink Floyd on your YouTube? I mean, that's what I would do, right? I'm a person that grew up on YouTube and would go for YouTube to see whatever I wanted. And it was to that moment that I realized that there is a meaning to it. There's a meaning on giving someone else a CD or to buying that CD. Again, later on, I came to realize that that friend was a huge fan of Pink Floyd, and that Pink Floyd meant a lot to him. So just listening to the song was not enough anymore. And again, in the past, people used to buy those all the time, and you had an emotional attachment to something physical. Again, it's easier for you to create that physical attraction and connection to something. And again, whenever I was in college, in another episode, a friend of mine, let's call him August, introduced me to something that I was never exposed to, which is collections, vinyl collections. He loved to have a bunch of those vinyls of specific bands that he really enjoyed. So there was a moment that he brought me to one of his favorite places, a vinyl shop, a local vinyl shop at the city where we met. And I just saw this huge ocean of vinyls. Not just vinyls, but also DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHSs even. And that just blew my mind. How can a modern world full of accessibility still fuel this market? And of course, as a hobby that's very famous in America. And I came to realize that it's very famous around a specific niche of people. Not everyone collects vinyls. Some people still think that it's about the convenience. It's about listening to the song. But when I came and realized that buying the vinyl of a band that you really, really enjoy, you have been listening to them for so long, came down to simple things. It was more about supporting the actor and the actress or the musician that you're buying that media from. And never about accessibility. Because again, the internet today gave us this ability of being able to access pretty much anything. Even whenever I got my first big boy job, the first thing I did was to first being able to buy food and all those things. But also, I went to the store and I remember like it was yesterday, I was able to buy my Olivia Rodrigo vinyl. I wasn't even an Olivia Rodrigo vinyl fan or even a fan of her music. Don't get me wrong, I have some music that I really enjoy from her. But again, and the same day I also bought a vinyl player, because again, you have to have somewhere to play it. But it's not as if I never heard any of those songs. As a matter of fact, in the car, I used my Spotify and on, of course, the vinyl. And the same friend, August, later on we came to a very nice conversation about being able to expand this market to other places in the world. We have a lot of friends that are, for example, from Latin America or even from Asia or the countries that don't necessarily have this culture as a hobby to collect vinyls. And after that, I ended up asking some of my friends, would you buy one of these? Would you be interested in that? And they were like, not really. First, the price is incredibly high to buy these ones. Again, it's demand. You don't have a market for that in these places. It becomes really hard for vinyl companies or CD companies to still make their game down there. So physical media becomes more than just supporting your actor or your favorite artist, but becomes a matter of access. As of today, I have around 15 different vinyls and a couple of CDs too. I got a John Mayer CD that I really enjoy from the Continuum album, and I'm not selling that thing for no price on earth. And again, that album, I listened to it so many times. I know every single track from that album. And today I built this philosophy of only buying vinyls or CDs of things that I really, really enjoy. Because it comes with that balance, you know. At the end of the day, it's a hobby, and we know that that's not why someone would spend a really big fortune of their time and their effort into collecting. Again, we are in an era which becomes harder and harder for these artists and these actors and actresses to make a living out of their art, especially if you see companies that are currently charging to be able to distribute that piece of media based on the views. The values continue to go lower and lower and lower. So buying physical media becomes a form of respect, a form of supporting those actors and those artists. Again, different stories, different views. Thanks so much for watching, and see you on the next one.